you ever struggled with your self-worth? I know I did. Maybe you even felt a little bit of self-loathing or a lacking self-esteem at times. Well, watch this video because we have a question from Sarah from our Crown Yourself community on how do I build my self-worth. Hey there, I'm Kimberly Spencer, founder of CrownYourself.com and the Communication Queen's guest podcasting booking agency. And today we are diving into one of our community's questions, which comes from Sarah, who writes, I am struggling with my self-worth. For as long as I remember, I have never really liked who I am, but I'm working on becoming nicer to myself. I know it's important to be nice to myself, but I just don't know where to get started with building my self-worth. Sarah, this has to be one of my favorite questions ever because self-worth is one of the most integral parts of who you are and what you can create in this world because everything stems from you. Everything starts here. And so I love the fact and I have to acknowledge first and foremost that you are asking this question, that you have the boldness and the courage to ask this question and to receive support. So just had to acknowledge you for that. So let's dive in. So why is self-worth so important? Well, like I said, everything starts from in here. And I'll give you a personal example of a story of self-worth that I took on and a challenge to increase my own self-worth that started with doing the 75 Hard Challenge. Now, if you're familiar with the 75 Hard Challenge, it means that you up your ante with working out to 2 45-minute workouts a day. You read 10 pages of a book a day. You drink a gallon of water. You don't have cheat meals. You follow a diet. I don't believe in dieting, but I eat like I eat, which is a lot of fruits, vegetables, and meats, and that's about it. But I never diet. If you have more questions about that, I'm happy to dive into that, but I don't ever diet. I think that's a 4-letter word that is a curse word in my opinion. But you're supposed to follow this plan. And then every day, another piece is you're supposed to take a picture of yourself every single day. So I started doing the 75 Hard Challenge because I wanted to feel better in my body. I wanted to feel more disciplined. I wanted to take my discipline, my integrity, and my responsibility to my fitness and to my health to the next level. Because it always comes, self-worth is always built from who we are, not what we do or what we have. I have known many people to have many followers, many dollars and dollars and dollars in the bank accounts, and yet they have no self-worth because self-worth starts with who you be. So I knew that this challenge would help inspire me to build the aspects of self-worth that I will be sharing in this video. Fast forward to 55 days in. 55 days. And I am a disciplined person. And every day doing my workout. And I would wake up at 12 o'clock at night. I would be in bed, ready to fall asleep. And then I would remember, I have to take my daily picture. And so I would go to the mirror late at night. I would turn on the lights sometimes. Sometimes I would just turn on the flash on my phone because my boys would be sleeping. And I would take the picture and there was my picture for the day. But day 55, I did everything on the list, and it was the one night that I thought, I'll just let my phone charge downstairs. And so I let my phone charge downstairs because I thought for sure I had accomplished and achieved everything on my 75 Hard list. And I forgot that picture. Well, fast forward to that morning, was meeting some friends for brunch, and I had specifically chosen a place because on 75 Hard, you don't drink alcohol, and that wouldn't have mimosas, that I could have a nice coffee, and I wouldn't feel all jealous that my friends were getting to have mimosas. So I just chose a nice place to have mimosas and pancakes. I wasn't going to have pancakes. I was going to have the eggs Benny because 75 Hard, and I was choosing not to eat baked goods. But then I found out as I'm sitting there waiting for our reservation that the one thing that I hadn't done is I was ticking off all the things of, did our 2 workouts, drank the gallon of water, totally did all the things, but then I did not take that dang picture. 55 days in. I was so close. And I thought, it's just a picture. Like, I did all the other pieces of this challenge. It's just a picture. I could take another picture today and no one would know, but I would know. And that's the thing about self-worth, is that it stems from self-integrity. And integrity is doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. And I hadn't taken the picture when I said I was going to do it, which was the day before. And so I knew that I could acquiesce and say, I'll just keep going with the challenge. Or I could honor the fact that the reason why I did the challenge in the first place was to increase who I be with being responsible, being more in integrity, and being more courageous and more disciplined. And I hadn't been disciplined enough to take that photo, to double check. And I had to own that. And it sucked. And it hurt. And I was like, because no one likes failure. No one likes to fail. But the thing is that I took that failure as a sign of actually my success in holding and owning my integrity. Because at the end of the night, when your head hits the pillow, you know if you've been in integrity with yourself, with your commitments, with your business, with your goals, or you haven't. You know when your head hits that pillow. And I would have known had I allowed myself to just tick that box and say, I'll just take a picture today. That wouldn't have been in integrity. So why I share this story is that commonly self-worth has been mistaken to mean like, if I just practice self-care. Like if I get a mani and pedi and take some bubble baths and like go to the spa every once in a while, then I'll build my self-worth. Self-worth is built by building your integrity and keeping your commitments to yourself. So if you have a commitment to work out twice a day, that is a commitment that you keep. If you have a commitment to be a healthy person and live a healthy lifestyle, then that is a commitment that you get to keep. And integrity means you do what you say you're going to do by when you say you're going to do it. So integrity means you keep those daily commitments that you have for yourself. And I say this to my clients who I coach in our Queen Bee business program when I tell them, or when eventually the option of lead generation comes up and I share that they need to be having a certain amount of conversations. And they get to choose how many conversations they have per week. But all business is built on relationships. And they do need to track how many conversations they are having per week and how many offers they are making per week. And so the thing that I see that grows them the most is when they realize that they haven't been in integrity, keeping the commitment of making the offers and having the conversations that lead to business growth. So how do we build our self-worth? Step number 1, operate with integrity. So integrity and commitments stems from the masculine energy. The masculine energy, and this is something that we as women, because we both have masculine and feminine energy within us, also need to own. We need to own our divine masculine, which is having the container of the commitments that we set for ourselves and being in integrity with keeping our word. And this can be for any commitment. This can be for any commitment in a relationship. So for example, in my relationship with my husband, when we first started dating, we set out to have integrity and commitment in our relationship. And we first started dating 10 years ago, and that was back when I was still doing a little bit of acting. And I had a conversation. I said, I want to be in integrity and keep this commitment of what is a boundary and what is not. And it's just a picture. It's very easy to excuse away, it's just a kiss, or it's just flirting, or it's just whatever. So in any relationship, whether it's the relationship with yourself, the relationship that you have with your partner or your significant other, the relationship that you have with your business, there are certain commitments and boundaries that you have of where this is a commitment. So my relationship with myself is I keep my commitments to my health. Like, I don't go out and eat fast food, junk food, because that's just not in alignment with my own commitment to my highest and best health. It's just not in alignment. It's just not who I am. Now, people who may not be committed to their health, that is a choice that they're then making to then go out and eat fast food every day. Not my choice, but that could be theirs. So look at what are you committed to, because we all are committed to something, and sometimes we don't know what we're committed to. So we can be committed to our excuses. We can be committed to allowing ourselves to back out of our own integrity and our own commitments. So we can be committed to that excuse of, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. That actually is a commitment. But to operate within integrity, to then build your self-worth, you need to look at what is it that you are currently committed to and what do you need to be committed to. So let's look at a monetary goal. If you have a monetary goal of hitting $100,000 this year and you are committed to making that goal happen, that is the masculine energy of the commitment, of the decisiveness that that goal is happening. So then you are committed to taking the daily action that is required of having those conversations, of getting booked on podcasts, of putting yourself out there on social media, of building those relationships with your current clients and getting referrals. You make the commitment to do the work to then get you the result. Just like with the gym, if you have a desire and a goal to get fit and feel strong and feel healthy, then you make the commitment and then you take the daily actions that are within integrity, and that builds your self-integrity, which then in turn builds your self-worth. Because when you train your brain, and it's the reticular activating system inside your brain, that you are the type of person who achieves her dang goals because you stay committed to achieving them, you keep going, you keep the commitments that are daily in order to achieve them, then you keep going. And you keep doing the dang thing. To give you another example, when I first ran my first marathon back in 2011, I had a mantra that I lived by that said, run, walk, or crawl, I am crossing that finish line. I did not care how. I ended up running across it because I really didn't want to be crawling, but I ended up running across it. And it was that commitment of non-negotiable finishing. I was unavailable for anything less. So I have another mantra that I use and that I share with my clients, and that you are feel free to adopt, that I am unavailable for anything less than profit and prosperity. So if I ever see anything that shows evidence to the contrary, where I'm like, ooh, stock market's dipped, or ooh, bank account dipped a bit. If I ever see any evidence that says that, I go, nope. My commitment is to profit and prosperity. So it shifts my mindset to focusing on the commitment to the end result that I have made. And then that allows me to look at what steps do I need to be in integrity with that continued commitment to profit and prosperity, or with that continued commitment to being in the best health of my life, or to that commitment to being in an amazing marriage, or to that commitment to being there for my children. So all of these are commitments that we make. It starts out with you looking at how do you need to be more in integrity with the commitments that you say that you want to have. Like when I see someone who says, I want to have a freedom-based business, and yet they aren't scheduling vacations in their calendar 6 months in advance, or they aren't scheduling break time so that they can have freedom, or that they don't even have systems and structure in their business so that they can actually have freedom in their business, or they don't have team to support them, then I go, oh, you're not really committed to having a freedom-based business. Because to have freedom, you do need to have certain systems and structure in place so that you can have the freedom so that things can run when you're not, available. And so when you're traveling the world and doing all the fabulous things that you want to be doing. Or when I hear someone say, oh, I want to build my dream business, but I don't have the time because I have, 2-3 kids, then I see that the commitment is actually to the children and not necessarily to building their dreams. Now, I'm not saying that that's wrong, good, right, bad, or anything. It's great to be committed to your children. You can also be committed to building a business at the same time. But it starts out, self-worth is built by looking at what are the commitments that your habits, actions, and current results are showing that you're actually committed to. And then what commitments need to change in order for you to actually be committed to the thing that you say that you want to be committed to so that you're actually operating within integrity with what it is that you desire and want. Number 2. So once you start operating with more integrity, then you look at how can you be more responsible. So self-worth is actually built through personal responsibility. That is why our core value at Crown Yourself is ownership, period. And it's not ownership of things or property or anything like that. It's ownership of your behavior and ownership that you are at cause for your life. And so when you are responsible, personally responsible, that means you are able to respond. I'm just simply breaking down the word responsible. So you are able to respond. Now, being in a commitment and being in integrity with what it is that you want, sometimes that ability to respond requires some sort of response, but you may not know what that initial best, highest, most aligned response is, which is why one of my clients, she set up a boundary that she will always be committed to her highest response, meaning she will not immediately commit to something initially for 24 hours. She will give a response within 24 hours, but she needs to feel out whether that commitment is something that is going to be for her highest and best and in the long run, and that's going to allow her to achieve the goals that she has set out to be, that she is already working to be in integrity with. So she has set a parameter around her own personal responsibility for big decisions and new commitments to have a 24-hour time window of response. Feel free to adopt that should that serve. The other piece of responsibility is being able to understand when you respond with a yes and that you keep that commitment to that yes, or you respond with a no, and that's okay too. So being being able to respond in the moment to holding the vision for what it is that you want to be for the person who is of massive, epic self-worth, and then being able to respond, is this next choice, is this next commitment that somebody's wanting me to make, is this next decision most in alignment with that highest and best version that I have already committed to being, of the version of me who has a high self-worth and a high standard of personal integrity. And lastly, the best way to build your self-worth is to act and operate with courage. So often we will have that to-do list of all the things that we want to do and all those things that we know that we should do. And those ones that take a little extra courage that maybe play into that fear of rejection or that fear of not being accepted. Those fears, when we allow ourselves to busy ourselves with other things that don't actually address that initial thing that will catapult us forward, that erodes at our self-worth as well. So what are those acts of courage that you need to be taking on a daily basis? What are those things that you need to respond to be responsible, to circle back to point number 2, with courage, so that you operate within integrity to doing what you say you're going to do and building the life that you say you want to build for yourself? Because when you start operating with courage, courage is that catapult that leaps you over the doubts and fears of your past and allows you to start operating more in the present moment with who it is that you desire to be. And courage on a vibrational level, because we all are emotional and vibrational beings, courage is the tipping point into those higher vibration emotions of love, joy, peace, acceptance, all of those, gratitude, all of those higher vibration states that actually allow for us to collapse the time in which we think it's going to take us to get something done. So when you start operating with courage instead of fear or out of pride or out of shame, courage is that tipping point to leaning in, to collapsing the timeline so that things speed up for you, so that that version of you who feels worthy, who is operating in integrity, who is personally responsible for her life, for her choices, for her growth, that version of you becomes you sooner, the sooner you start acting with greater courage. Let me know what you loved about this video in the comments below, and which one do you need to be working on more now? Which piece of self-worth? Is it building more integrity and keeping your commitments to yourself? Is it being more responsible and being able to respond in the moment or have a window of response? Is it being more courageous? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to like it. Subscribe and share it with your friends. I always love bringing you into our community of amazing Queen TV subscribers. And as always, my fellow sovereigns, own your throne, mind your business, because your reign is now. Check out these videos next to build your self-confidence, your courage, and your empire. Questions, which comes from... So, it's Queen TV time, Queen TV time. We're doing the Queen thing, building our integrity. All right,